Welcome to the NFC Divisional Playoff game on Fox, presented to you by Intuit TurboTax Live. From the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, this is the final game of the divisional weekend across the league. It's the NFC South matchup postseason style as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roll into town to play the New Orleans Saints. Could this be the last meeting that Tom Brady and Drew Brees could ever have against each other on an NFL field? We'll just have to wait and see about that. Hey everybody, this is Tamir Moore with your Buccaneers Saints NFC Divisional Playoff game preview tonight here on Fox. The Buccaneers coming off their wildcard win last week against the Washington football team 31-23. Tom Brady had a great season in the first year in Tampa Bay, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a rating of 102.2. He is currently on a 5-game stretch in which Brady has had at least a quarterback rating of 100 or better in each game, so we'll see if he's able to keep that going. Mike Evans, the great wide receiver for the Buccaneers. Buccaneer fans were very concerned last week about Mike Evans' health. Remember, he suffered a knee injury week 17 in a win against Atlanta to help Tampa Bay clinch the 5 seed. But Mike Evans, though, had a good wild card game at Washington last week. 10 targets, 6 receptions, 119 yards. Evans is coming off a season in which he caught 70 ball. He had 1,000 yards, and he scored 13 touchdowns. Antonio Brown, who, of course, started a career in Pittsburgh, then went to New England. He's had off-the-field problems, but Antonio Brown on a straight and narrow since coming to Tampa Bay. Antonio Brown, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown against Washington last week. Chris Godwin, the wide receiver in the wild card round, last week, 12 targets, 5 receptions, 79 yards, and a touchdown. And tight end Cameron Brate, who is the forgotten man in this offense, because most of Tampa Bay's offense is based on their wide receiving core, and rightfully so. But Cameron Brate had respectable numbers against Washington last week. 6 targets, 4 receptions, for 80 yards. This season, the Tampa Bay pass offense, 2nd in yards per game, 9th in yards per attempt, and 2nd overall as far as touchdowns are concerned. Tampa Bay was the 3rd best in points per game this season. They were in the top 10 in red zone touchdown percentage. And Tampa Bay did a great job this year keeping Tom Brady clean, only allowing 22 sacks. Leonard Fournette, who started a career in Jacksonville, acquired by Tampa Bay prior to the season this year, he had 19 rushes for 93 yards and a touchdown last week. And, of course, Fournette got the start because Ronald Jones, who had a quad injury coming in the last week game, was unable to go. And Ronald Jones this week will be a game-time decision again, so we'll see if he plays or not. But you look at this Tampa Bay offense, 11th in third down percentage, 7th in the red zone. Tampa Bay pass defense, 21st this year in yard per game and 29th in completion percentage. And then against Washington quarterback Tyler Heineke last week in the wildcard round, 306 yards. They allowed Heineke to throw. Heineke threw 300 yards against them. Heineke did throw a touchdown pass, but Heineke did throw a pick playing for the injured Alex Smith. Now, Tampa Bay pass defense, 15 interceptions, which ties them for 7th in the league, and the Buccaneers pass defense, 11th in yards per attempt. They're 6th in blitz rate, 39%. So Tampa Bay likes to blitz a lot, and we'll see if that continues here tonight against the Saints. Tampa Bay, 48 sacks this year, tied for 4th in the league as far as sacks go, 116 quarterback hits. So look, you think about it, Tom Brady is 43 years old. He's not the young-go-lucky kid he was in his early years in New England. Tom Brady has shown time and time again that Father Time is not to his level yet. Let's talk about Tampa Bay for a few more notes here. Tampa Bay's rush defense, though, 1st in yards per carry, 1st in yards per game, and 23 rushes, 86 yards against Washington last week. Hey, you look at Tom Brady and the 2 Saints Buccaneers matches, and remember, one stat about Tom Brady to keep in mind. Tom Brady has never lost to the same team 3 times in one season. That's what he's trying to avoid in this one. The Saints beat Tampa 34-23 in week 1. He beat them 38-3 on Sunday Night Football in week 9. So definitely Tampa need to win against the Saints. Tom Brady, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in the week 1 game. He was sacked 3 times. Tom Brady was not good in the week 9 meeting. Tampa only scored 3 points, 209 yards, 3 interceptions that he threw, quarterback rating of just 40.4. He was sacked 3 times in that one. Now let's flip it over. Let's talk about the Saints. Saints coming off the 29 21-9 win last week against Chicago in the wild card round. The pass defense is 4th best in the league, 5th best in yard per game, and 6th in yard per attempt. The Saints pass D is just one of only 2 teams in the league that hold opposing quarterback completions percentage to under 60%. And wild card round last week against Bear quarterback Mitch Trubisky, they limited him to just 199 yards, so they did a pretty decent job. Pass rush is pretty good, 45 sacks. They've accounted for 112 quarterback hits, top 10 in the NFL, so clearly the Saints can rush you. They can sack you if you're the QB. Trey Hendrickson, 4th-year defensive end. A lot of people have not heard of Trey Hendrickson, right? But you should be familiar with what he's doing. Henderson having a great year. This regular season, Trey had 13.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, and a 4th fumble. This season, the Saints rush defense, 19 rushes, 48 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. And the Saints, that was last week against Chicago, I should say. Sorry about that. Last week, 19 Bear rushes, less than 50 yards. So they're able to contain David Montgomery, who's been their top back for the Bears this year. Now, as far as the year overall in the rush defense for the Saints is concerned, top 5 in yard per carry and yard per game. Saints defense, 9th in 3rd down, 29th in the red zone. As far as offense is concerned, though, that's where the butter and bread is for the Saints. They can score points, right? Top 10 in 3rd down and red zone. And Drew Brees, remember he had to miss a game because he had fractured ribs. He suffered that week 10 against San Francisco. He came back 5 weeks later against Kansas City in a loss. Drew Brees last week played pretty efficiently. 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. Michael Thomas, who's finally back. He's barely played this year because of injuries mainly. But Michael Thomas sold some flashes of his former self. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Deontay Harris, a great young man from Assumption College in Massachusetts. 7 targets, 7 yards, 7 targets, 7 receptions, and 83 yards. Excuse me. Let me turn my phone off. Excuse me. So 7 targets, 7 receptions, 83 yards for Deontay Harris, the wide receiver for the Saints last week against Chicago. Alvin Kamara, another great year for him. 83 receptions, 756 yards, and 5 touchdowns as a runner. And Kamara as a receiver threat, even better. 932 yards and 16 touchdowns. Remember, he had a 6 touchdown performance against Minnesota on Christmas Day. Drew Brees, great year again. 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But a lot of people around the NFL believe this might be Drew Brees' last year. We'll see if that's actually the case or not. But you look at Drew Brees in the 2 meetings this season against Tampa Bay. Drew Brees, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, 96.5 QB rating week 1. In the 34-23 Saints win at home against Tampa. And in the 38-3 win at Tampa in week 9, Drew Brees, though, pretty good stats. 222 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 135.2 quarterback rating. What's on the line? The winner of this game will visit Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Jair Alexander, and the Green Bay Packers next week. And the NFC Championship game will be next Sunday at 3:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. It's the Bucs and the Saints in this NFC Divisional Playoff game. Thank you so much for watching this game preview. Hope you join me for the NFL Fox call beginning at 6:40 p.m. Eastern tonight at Tampa Bay, New Orleans squares off as Brees and Brady meet for the first time this season and potentially could be the last time you meet. Remember, you two have a long history going back to their college days when Tom Brady was at Michigan and Drew Brees was at Purdue.